Have you ever wondered how a creature can thrive in the heart of the Arctic, one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth? Today, we delve into the fascinating world of the polar bear. Symbolic of the Arctic's rugged and icy wilderness, the polar bear, or Ursus maritimus, as it's scientifically known, holds a special place in the circle of life. Closely related to the brown bear, these majestic creatures represent the epitome of survival in extreme conditions. In terms of size, polar bears are the largest bear species. Adult males can weigh anywhere from 300 to 800 kilograms. Polar bears exhibit sexual dimorphism, meaning that in this case, females are generally smaller than their male counterparts. Known as the sea bear, polar bears are not just survivors, but skilled hunters and swimmers in their icy domain. Polar bears rule the icy landscapes of the Arctic, but where exactly can we find these magnificent creatures? These majestic animals reign over the Arctic regions, spreading across 5 countries: Canada, Alaska in the United States, Greenland, Norway, and Russia. In these frosty territories, they traverse the shifting landscape of sea ice, which serves as their primary habitat. The sea ice is more than just a frozen expanse for these bears. It's their hunting ground, their breeding site, and their highway for migration. Polar bears are marine mammals, with their existence deeply intertwined with the marine ecosystem. They rely heavily on the sea ice as it provides access to their primary food source, seals. So they're not just Arctic animals, they're ice bears, spending the majority of their lives on the sea ice of the Arctic Ocean. The Arctic is a dynamic environment, with seasons that dramatically transform the landscape. In the depths of winter, the sea ice expands, providing an extensive platform for the bears to hunt and roam. As the warmer months arrive, the ice recedes, often stranding the bears on land until the freeze returns. Despite the freezing temperatures and harsh conditions, the Arctic is the perfect home for these resilient creatures. What makes the polar bear uniquely equipped to survive in the Arctic? Well, let's start with its striking white fur. The fur is actually transparent and only appears white because it reflects light. This clever camouflage blends the bear into its snowy surroundings, making it nearly invisible to prey. The polar bear's skin, beneath that deceptive fur, is jet black, a dark canvas that absorbs and retains heat from the sun, helping the bear stay warm in freezing temperatures. Now, let's not forget the polar bear's thick layer of fat, up to 4 inches deep. This fat acts as an insulating blanket, keeping the cold out and the warmth in. Polar bears are superb swimmers, thanks to their large paddle-like front paws. These paws, combined with a powerful back end, allow them to swim for miles at a stretch in search of food or mates. The polar bear is a master of its environment, brilliantly adapted to the challenges of life in the Arctic. From its heat-absorbing black skin to its insulating fat layer, from its camouflaging fur to its adept swimming skills, every facet of the polar bear's physique contributes to its survival in the Arctic. Now, let's explore the life of a polar bear, what it eats, how it behaves, and how it reproduces. In the harsh Arctic environment, polar bears have evolved as apex predators, primarily feasting on seals. They've honed their hunting skills to near perfection, patiently waiting by a seal's breathing hole in the ice, ready to strike when their prey surfaces for air. Polar bears have a unique mating ritual that takes place on the sea ice during April and May. The males track the scent of the females for miles, engaging in fierce fights for the right to mate. Once a pair has formed, they mate several times over a week to ensure successful fertilization. Following this, the female embarks on a fascinating biological process known as delayed implantation. The fertilized egg waits to implant in the uterus until the female has sufficient fat reserves, ensuring the cubs have the best chance of survival in the unforgiving Arctic environment. Sadly, the majestic polar bear faces numerous threats that put its survival at risk. As the largest extant bear species and the most powerful land carnivore, they rely heavily on the Arctic's marine ecosystem, making them particularly vulnerable to changes in their environment. One of the most pressing threats they face is climate change, which leads to the melting of sea ice, their primary habitat. This loss of habitat not only limits their hunting grounds, but also affects their ability to reproduce and raise cubs. In addition to climate change, pollution poses a significant risk. Contaminants in the ocean can accumulate in the seals they prey upon, eventually making their way into the polar bears and impacting their health. And let's not forget the direct human activities, such as hunting and habitat destruction, which continue to pose significant challenges to their survival. Despite these threats, the polar bear is not going down without a fight. They are currently classified as a vulnerable species, not yet endangered, and there are numerous conservation efforts underway to protect them. These include monitoring populations, protecting habitats, and implementing regulations against hunting. The survival of the polar bear is in our hands. With understanding and action, we can ensure that these magnificent creatures continue to roam the Arctic ice.